Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. So I have connected my BenQ HDMI 2.1 cable to my BenQ HT2550 4K HDR projector, and I did notice on my 138-inch. I use two rooms. One I use 188-inch, and on this one I use 138-inch, which is pretty good though. I did notice that the colors, the HDR, are pop more brighter. And somebody been asking me, well, how is that possible that this cable can actually give a better reproduction of chroma 422, which requires a higher bandwidth? Well, that's exactly why. The 2.1 has the capacity to transfer data a little bit quicker, a little bit faster than 2.0 HDMI cable. Okay, even though I know that HDCP 2.2, the current chipsets, they're built inside the devices and 4K TVs and 4K players, they only allow about 18 megabits per second, but this cable will read it quicker and faster, meaning that the static metadata will be rendered quicker and faster. Therefore, you'll have much better representation of 422 chroma. Okay, instead of just switching it to 420. And for those of you who don't know what the 422 chroma is, the video color output, right now I don't have time to explain it to you. In technical terms, I would have to explain to it like in the basic terms, but even in the basic terms, I would have to go back to the basics and then to explain everything in alphabetical order. So I'm going to do that video separate one of these days. But let me go to some of the scenes. Currently, you're looking at the Transformers. And the reason I know this is the Transformers the last night via Apple 4K TV. And the reason I know that that the HDR looks a bit brighter in color, it's because I know what I was getting previously with my HDMI 2.0 cable. And again, I want to prove a point, the buffer. Here, hold on a second. Here's another example of the buffer. You barely get to see that buffer here. Any issues with the buffer? This cable really reads the movies really fast. Barely any buffer. You see, like right here, there's barely any buffer. It reads it really quick, really fast. All right. So I did not have, with my previous cable, HDMI 2.0, the buffer, it took a little while. It took about maybe 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, till the quality would show up. You know, when you're streaming a movie and sometimes the quality doesn't show up right away, it takes a little while. That's because of that bandwidth, okay? Because that previous HDMI cable, maximum capacity it's 18 megabits, but it never really uses the 18 megabits. That's a BS. It usually uses maybe about 10 to maybe 8 megabits per second, and that is just not as fast as something like 2.1 HDMI cable that can transfer that bandwidth. Okay, the whole idea of these HDMI cables, guys, it's the bandwidth. Transfer data. Okay, that's what it's all about. How quicker can you transmit this signal to this device or to this TV or to this projector? Okay, all right. Again, I don't have time to go through all these technical aspects of it. You guys can go ahead and visit the HD TV test. You can ask Vince and Tio. Maybe I'll do a video where I'm going to explain to you in basic terms how it works, or you can actually do what I do. Go to Barnes & Nobles, pick up some books, read about it, or you can Google it. Use your cell phone or your internet or what have you, and you can Google, you can find out all of these things step by step. There's seminars, there's all sorts of things. You can learn the aspect of how the HDMI transfer data works. So as you will see, like everything works great here. There's barely any buffer. You see, like there's barely any buffer here, and it looks fantastic. Obviously, I cannot show you too much of this film because if I do, I'll get flagged. So yeah, there's definitely improvement here that I'm seeing. And what better way for you to see that improvement than on a big 138-inch giant screen? Maybe I can come a little bit closer here so you guys maybe can see that detail a little bit better. Like the HDR, like the color of the HDR on this projector right now, it's really being shown dramatically better. And I know this because, as I said earlier, I had this projector now for almost a month, so I know what I was getting with the HDMI 2.0, and I know what I'm getting right now with the 2.1. The HDR definitely benefits here, guys. And also the buffer, like the buffer thing, it's not going to be an issue because you already have a high bandwidth internet broadband speed, okay? But sometimes if your HDMI cable is not good enough, if it's a really bad quality HDMI cable, then it'll take a little while to transmit the data between the device and to a TV or to a projector, okay? But you'll just have to take my word for it, guys. I know some of you are going to be still skeptical about it. Well, how can we trust you? Well, you don't have to trust me. You know, I'm not like making anybody here believe me. You don't have to trust me. That's your free will. If you don't want to trust me, you don't want to trust me, that's fine. But I'm just letting you know this is coming from a guy who actually tests these things, and I know what I was getting with 2.0 cable, and I know what I'm getting right now with a 2.1 cable, okay? And just look how beautifully HDR is being presented here. I'm not pulling any tricks here. What you're seeing, it's exactly what I'm seeing here. And this is why I keep saying, guys, if you truly want to experience a movie, the best way to experience a movie in HDR and 4K, it's on a big, giant screen. And this is why I recommend a projector. If you truly want to appreciate what this director intended, the best way to appreciate that, it's on a big, giant projector. And you're definitely going to get that on this big, giant projector. And even here, you will see just how beautifully the HDR is being rendered here. You look at Anthony Hopkins, I mean, you see the detail that you possibly couldn't see before on your previous HDMI cable, and you couldn't possibly see on your smaller 4K TV. And it works great. I mean, this is nearly a 4K UHD Blu-ray quality. It would be really interesting to see. I might do this test, as a matter of fact. I would love to compare this movie, Transformers, with the Oppo 4K Blu-ray version and the Apple 4K version. I would like to stack these two versions together just to see the difference. And you will be shocked and surprised that there's not that much of a difference that your eye will see between Apple 4K TV and the 4K UHD Blu-ray player. So anyway, it's a short little video. I just wanted to show you my first impressions on how it looks on the projector. There will be more tests. This is just my first impression on what I'm getting with a 4K projector. So if you're planning on buying the BenQ 4K HDR projector or Optima UHD 65 projector, which obviously it's a more superior because of 2:1 million contrast ratio and a 3000 luminous brightness peak light, you might even experience even more vibrant and better HDR. But this cable would definitely help with HDR. There's no question about that. That I can confirm. And it reads the HDMI much faster. When you switch between the inputs, it reads it much faster. Okay, so there's definitely some benefit here of having the HDMI 2.1 cable. Alright, so there you have it, guys. Again, it's a short little video. There will be more videos of this. I just want to give you my quick thoughts on how I feel about HDMI 2.1 cable on my Apple 4K TV via BenQ HDR 4K HDR projector. One thing for sure, as I said it before in my videos, you will definitely profit from a better HDR signal. This cable will definitely read that static metadata and dynamic metadata much better than your 2.0. And you've seen me scroll through this movie. There's barely any buffer. I mean, it's non-existent. Honestly, like here, it's non-existent. It's just, there you go, right there. Boom, done. Okay. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you liked this video, and if you didn't like it, well, then you didn't like it. But if you liked it, well, good. Hopefully you like it. Look at just the detail that you see. Look at this HDR here. Here I am, like not even 2 feet away. Listen, guys, I am not against OLED. I'm not against LEDs. But it's really hard to go back to a 55-inch, a 65-inch, even OLED. There's no better way, guys, to experience 8.3 million pixels and HDR than a projector on a big giant screen. This is a 138-inch. If I was showing this to you on a 188-inch, the amount of detail you would see, it would be even more groundbreaking. And of course, the better 4K projector you have with the more contrast ratio and more peak luminous light, then of course the HDR will look even more ridiculous. Especially if you're using something like this, that's above Rec 709, that goes up to BT 2020, which is the full wide color gamut. And make no mistake, this 4K HDR projector, it's a full wide color gamut. So anyway, there you have it, guys. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll catch you guys on my next tests. I have a bunch of tests to go through, guys. Just bear with me, it will take a while. But all these tests will be done, and I will give you my honest, unbiased opinions and thoughts, as I always do. Thank you for watching. Take care.